Alrighty, well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our employer orientation session. Please give me a moment as I share my screen with you all. Is everyone able to see that? Great. So welcome to our employer orientation session. We'll do some introductions here really quickly, but just kind of give everyone an overview of what we are doing. We will have a welcome from our partner associations, introduce our entire employer development team. Really exciting stuff. Share with you the virtual schedule, employer resources, and then tips from the employer development team and how we can help you. And then to save the date for our next employer development live session. So this is our time together. I'm really excited to be here. But first, let's hear from our association partners, Grant and Amy.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for being here. You heard from our Executive Director and CEO, Mary DeNiro, if you attended the welcome session just a little while ago, and she sent greetings from Aku, Hawaii. My name is Grant Walters. I'm the Director of Educational Programs. And I wanted to thank you so much for being here and for your participation and engagement. I attended TPE from the very beginning, 2007 as an employer. And I know that TPE is more than just a place where people gather to look for jobs and to look for candidates. It's the future of our profession, and it's also an investment. And it's a place where I think employers have found a home. And so we're really excited that you're here. So for our membership in Aku, Hawaii, we know many of you are here continuing to look for high quality candidates, people that will come into your residence life and housing programs and will continue to move the profession forward. And particularly in this uncertain and unusual time that we're in currently, we know that that's going to be more important than ever. But for all of our other colleagues in student affairs, we know that there are so many important roles that you're seeking good quality candidates for right now. And we're hoping that this experience and TPE Virtual will give you that opportunity. I really have to thank our committee and all of our staffs at NASPA and Aku, Hawaii, who have taken a situation that was really unexpected and have turned it into an experience that I hope all of us will be proud of. We're very proud that you're all here and joining us and participating. And we're looking forward to this as a great opportunity. If there's any way that either of our staffs can support you and assist you through this process in any way, shape, or form, we're here from you. So with that, I'll turn it over to my colleague, Amy Shopcorn at NASPA.
Great, thank you, Grant. My name is Amy Shopcorn. I'm the Vice President for Operations with NASPA. TPE is really a partnership, as you've heard so far, between NASPA and Aku, Hawaii and several other associations. But really the teams from NASPA and Aku, Hawaii work so closely together. And I think it's really emblematic of what we do on our college campuses as we look at divisions, departments, individuals across campus, really trying to do what's best for our students. That's what we're trying to do for our employers, who in turn are trying to do that for students. The team has done an exceptional job of pivoting. I know that all of you are in the middle of pivoting right now as you think about what the future of your divisions are and how you can continue to best serve your students. And we appreciate you taking the time to be here with us today for this welcome and continuing to invest in the future of the profession, taking the time to meet with these candidates, find the folks that are going to have big impacts on the work that you're doing in the future, even in these uncertain times. So thank you so much for taking the time to be here. As Grant said, we're so grateful to the committee and all of the staff members who have worked hard on this, not only all year, but particularly in the last 13 days since we've had to make some changes. And so as Grant said, if you need anything, we are here. We're here to support you through this process, and don't hesitate to let us know what you need. Thank you again.
Great. Thank you, Amy and Grant, for all the support that you all have been providing on the background end too, in making this happen. So it gives me great pleasure to move on to our committee. And I will let my colleague introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. I'm Erin Nichols, and I've had the joy and the pleasure of working with the TPE committee as the chair for employer development. And so excited to finally put this event together for you all in a very unique way, in a very new and inaugural way, knowing that there are a lot of different challenges that you all are meeting right now on your different campuses. And so we want to say that we're here for you. We're excited to begin this experience, and we're hoping that you will find the best candidates for you moving forward.
And the booming voice that you've been hearing today. I am Tim Layson. I currently serve on the Employer Development Committee as a co-chair and member along with Arian this past year, and it's been a great pleasure to work with her and work with you all as our employer colleagues. In my day job, I'm the Associate Director of Residence Life at Santa Clara University in Santa Clara, California. So real excited for you all to be here. Our work isn't just done between Arian and I, so we really want to highlight our fabulous interns. There are 4 of them that we have been working very closely with. Brandon Arnold from Michigan State University, Natalie Kindler from Bowling Green State, Amanda Stevens from the University of South Alabama, and Sabrina Sturgeon from Virginia Tech. These 4 first-year graduate students not only have been navigating their programs within their first year, but also doing a lot of side work with our committee very specifically. So to our 4 interns, thank you so much for everything that you've done for us. The experience wouldn't be the same without you all, so we just want to make sure we gave you all a shout out as well. Sorry about that. My mouse got a little excited there. But to just kind of review the schedule, I know that this was shared in the general welcome for all of our employers and all of our candidates to see, but we really want to highlight some things on here. This is exactly what the schedule looks like on the TPE website. So when you log in, you'll see all the different events that are going on, the brown bag lunches and all of those things. But one thing we do want to highlight is our employer solution station times. And just as a reminder, everything that we are doing for TPE is in Central Standard Time. So just kind of keep that in mind. But these employer solution stations are open Zoom meeting times for you as employers to connect with us as the employer development team. So here are the various times that we have open. 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., 1 p.m. to 3 p.m., and 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. And these will be consistent times on Thursday and Friday. And then Saturday, we will be offering the 9 a.m. to 11 and the 1 to 3. And so we want to make sure that you all as employers can really connect with us, get your questions answered, and all of those things. And so we definitely encourage you to stop on by, to ask us any questions or if you need anything. So really thinking through what can we do for you all. First, we're here to answer whatever questions you may have. We know that this experience has shifted in the last few weeks, and so we want to make sure that we're trying to answer whatever questions we can answer. We also will provide important updates from our planning committee. So I know Arian will talk a little bit about this later on, but making sure that someone on your team is checking those updates because they will be coming out daily towards the end of the day. We're here to consult with you regarding interview logistics and scheduling. Even though we are doing this on an online, in a virtual format, whatever you're using, the scheduling system is still very much the same. And so whatever you all need in terms of tips and tricks or like navigating some issues in the scheduling system, please let us know. And we're also going to be visible during the Employer Solutions Station. I think we're all kind of navigating this for the very first time. And I think there's going to be things that we know, things that we may not have thought of yet. And so it's great if you all want to come and interact with us. But one time, just feel free to let us know that as well. And then again, just relay any concerns or feedback you may have throughout this process. Again, it's a new process. We're very excited for it. But really just, we're here to make sure that you all are getting your questions answered and that we are continuing to provide that exceptional level of concierge service.
All right, so I want to share with you all some different resources that we'll have available during TPE Virtual. Tim already mentioned the Employer Solution Station hours, and so you've already received an email at this point with the link that's posted leading to those Employer Solution Station hours. During that time, there will be someone from the committee, and more than likely myself or Tim also there to answer any questions you may have, provide any advice or consultation, and of course to help in any way that you may see fit while you're going through your search process. The other thing that was mentioned a little bit earlier is we have a new chat feature where you'll be able to log into TPE, and then during certain times of the day, there'll be a TPE staff member who can answer your questions via chat. So if you log into the TPE website, it'll be right there in that bottom right corner, and you're able to chat live in the moment with someone from the TPE team at large. Something that Tim and I have decided to also host for you all is an employer social event. So on Friday, March 27th, from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. that's Central Standard Time, join the employer development team and a few of our colleagues, as well as your colleagues, in a discussion that we'll be having. As it relates to being employers, what you all are doing. You can engage with us, you can engage with other employers. All of that will take place during that time. All right, so I wanted to share some tips with you all. Hold on one moment. All right, so I wanted to share a few tips with you all. One thing is to make sure that your interview schedule is up to date and keeping track of that. With your schedule, make sure that you're taking some time to create personal event blocks if necessary. So this may be to meal time that you may need, whether your team is getting together to have a chat and discuss your candidates thus far. Make sure you put that in your schedule so that you're also keeping up to date, and we also know when you don't have that space open to interview candidates. As Tim said, and I'll reiterate, please watch your email. Your email is where we'll be sending a lot of our communications throughout the day. So at least having someone from your team to ensure that they're consistently checking that email. Also, please continue to schedule interviews throughout this time. Some of you may be doing second and third round interviews during this time. So please make sure that you're getting those schedules. Being that we have moved to more virtual interviewing, if at any point you plan to record interviews, make sure that you're letting the candidates know ahead of time that you will be recording the interview. We ask that you also treat the virtual interviews like they're in-person interviews. And so folks can still see you as if you were sitting at a table across from them. And so treat these interviews as such in that same way. When scheduling interviews, just want to reiterate to use those note sections to put in your interview logistics. So your Zoom links, your video links, or your phone numbers for candidates. It's also still a hefty time, so please take breaks as you need them. Walk away from the computer in between interviews, do a quick, 5 or 6 jumping jacks to get your adrenaline pumping, anything that you need to do to kind of get your energy back up in between interviews. And also have fun during this time. TPE is a fun experience, and we want it to continue being fun even through a virtual process, so have as much fun as you can.
Yeah, I think it's just making sure you're communicating with candidates every step of your process moving forward. I think that's something that just can't be said enough, and that a lot of our employers have done a really great job in pivoting throughout the last couple of weeks. And so we've heard from employers letting candidates know of any HR things that are going on their campuses, or like relaying newer updates. And so we just want to continue to have you all do that. Because as nervous as we all might be as employers and institutional partners looking for folks to work for us, our candidates are also just as nervous. And so we're all in it together, from High School Musical, if you don't know what that is. But we will get through it together, and should you have any questions, please feel free to let us know. Just some tips from employer development. Like I said, candidate communication, respond to candidate correspondence in a timely manner, respond to follow-up emails with a quick thank you, especially sharing your next steps, and remembering that this is a stressful time for you and the candidates. And at the end of the day, making sure that you provide a positive, memorable experience for the candidates. Arian, do you have anything else you want to add to this slide?
You got to go back one more slide for me.
Oh, there we go. Oh,
No worries.
technology.
Right here. All right, so we have some tips for you all as it relates to whether you're conducting virtual interviews or conducting phone interviews. So if you're conducting virtual interviews, we just share dressing appropriately. Again, what would you wear if you joined the interview if we were on site? Similar activity. What do you feel is appropriate for you're interviewing a candidate? Remembering that as you're interviewing. Being cognizant of outside distractions, and so knowing that a lot of us are working from home, neighbors, outside lawn mowing, different things like that, really being cognizant of that as you're interviewing. I put a little lights, camera, action information on here, so remember your lighting. Where are you located in wherever you are? Is it kind of a darkened place? Somewhere that has good lighting would be best for the interview. Making sure that you're looking at the camera. When we're doing virtual interviews, it can sometimes be preferential to look at the candidate or look at who we're talking to, which thus makes us look like we're not looking at the candidate, which we aren't necessarily on the camera. And so just being cognizant of when you're talking to a candidate, looking at the camera so it feels as if you're looking directly at them. And then inform the candidate if you are taking notes, whether that's written or typed. That way they kind of understand if you're looking away at a certain time or if you're looking down during the interview, it doesn't mean anything about their candidacy or their interview, you're just taking notes. And then on the other end, if you're conducting a phone interview, be cognizant of the mute function. Sometimes we use the mute function so that we can type or write things out without disturbing the candidate. But there's also the other end as a candidate where you can hear when the phone is muted. And so that sometimes can be very nerve-wracking that every time you're hearing that kind of click in, click out, click in, click out, knowing that they're muting, where candidates may not be sure, are they talking about me? What is happening? And so being very cognizant of that function. And if you are going to mute, just letting the candidate know ahead of time, like we will mute when you're answering so that we can write, so that they don't come up or guess or assume certain things. Also, don't be afraid to acknowledge the blank space or the silence. So if you are not muting, you're keeping the phone lines open while you're making notes, just acknowledging that, like there may be some times of silence, we're just finishing up our notes. And then if possible, use a landline. Otherwise, try to find, if you're using a cell phone or cellular device, try to find an area that has sufficient signal so you're not losing the candidate during the interview.
I already went over the tips from employer development for candidates, so my apologies for that. Again, my computer, just like me, got very, very excited and moved forward a little too quickly. But again, just sharing that we want to make sure we're keeping constant communication with all of our candidates, just so that way they know where they're at in your process and they know what they can also make some decisions for themselves. So our next Employer Development Live series, this has been an ongoing series that we've had for the last, at least for this last year, is going to be focusing on the on-campus experience. Now that we've moved into this newer environment, there have been a lot of questions on social media about how different campuses are doing their on-campus or their final interviews as part of this process. So we'll talk about what it looks like to bring candidates to campus if you're able to. We'll definitely give you some tips on the virtual on-campus interviews, as Arian and I, between the number of years of employer experience that we've had, we've done the gamut of in-person, some virtual, and then all virtual. So we'll kind of share some tips and tricks with you all as to what that could look like. But our next ED Live session is going to take place on April 13th from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and all the hours in between. And so we want to make sure that we are continuously giving you all that development and all that pieces of information that we are receiving from all of our colleagues from around the country. So we've been monitoring the chat features, question and answer. So we will see if there are any questions from any folks. I do not see any other questions. Arian, do you have any last thoughts that you'd want to leave with everyone?
I would just say for all of our employers, remember that this is also an exciting time and an experience for you all. And it's probably, quite honestly, for some of us, new experiences with running our own departmental search committees and search teams and recruitment processes. And so take a lot of notes, write a lot of things down, and remember those folks who are coming after you when it comes to these processes, and that you never know what can happen. And so it's good to have this information written down, thinking about some of your own experiences where you probably have had a moment thus far with all these changes going on where you're like, I wish that was written down somewhere, or I knew how to do this. And now you've had that experience and you can share that for the next individual, but also remembering that this is an experience as well for your team. So just like your candidates, and you want to provide an exciting recruitment process for them and a recruitment experience, please also do the same thing for yourselves and for your team as well.
And at the end of the day, we're all here for everyone, whether it's Arian and myself, or our interns, or our staff that work in our Kuhuai or NASPA offices. Like, we're all here for everyone's success, and that's really what we want to make sure is driven home. That if you need something, or if you have a question, or if you have a thought, let someone on one of our teams or staffs know, because just like you all are taking notes, we're also taking notes on this process, as the virtual portion of what now what we're doing is obviously something that may likely continue in the future. And so we want to make sure we're providing that exceptional level of experience, not only for our candidates, but also for you as employers. So should y'all need anything, please do not be afraid to let us know via social media, or more importantly, in our Employer Solutions Station rooms, because we definitely want to make sure we're interacting with you through as much face-to-face contact as we can as well. With no other questions in the queue, I think this is a good breaking point for our presentation today and our overview for orientation. Again, thank you all for being here so much, and we're excited for you. We're cheering everyone on, and should y'all have any questions, don't be afraid to reach out.